Welcome back to The Narrow Path with Kent Matthew. Before I begin, I do have some news to share. This episode marks not just the season 3 finale, but the series finale, the last episode ever. This little show has been my baby for the last 3 years, and it's sad that the time has come for it to end. To all the loyal listeners who have tuned in for the last 3 seasons, I just want to say thank you. It means everything to me. And this show has meant everything to me. It's exceeded my expectations for everything that I thought it could be and everything that I wanted it to be. But it's not over yet. I do have a couple of topics that I want to discuss before we close out. So let's do this one last time. Hey guys, welcome back one last time. A quick rundown for today's episode. I'm going to discuss a couple topics that are near and dear to my heart: obedience to the Lord, stepping out and walking in faith. And then I'm going to do a quick jog down memory lane, and then we'll close out. Thank you so much again for tuning in. All right, without further ado, let's begin. So I'm going to start with obedience to the Lord. It is so important to obey the Lord. When the Lord tells you to do something, you may not want to do it, and it may not seem like the right thing to do it at the time, but it's the best thing for us to do. So, for example, the reason why I'm ending this show is because the Lord has told me to lay it down. And it wasn't just like a voice from heaven that came and said, "Hey, Kent, cancel this show and be done with it now." It wasn't like that. It was a gradual process. Way back in January, when I started production on this current season, everything was going well. I did outline for 22 episodes, so I thought I was going to do that many, and I had a whole list, like a guest list of people that I wanted to appear on the show, and there were a bunch of scheduling conflicts and stuff like that, so I experienced a bit of spiritual warfare there. And I had so many plans for this show, and then, when the time came around for the episodes to start airing and rolling out, I experienced spiritual warfare because this season is the first season that we're doing video. And so I've never done that before, so this is a whole new ball game for me. So editing all of the episodes, I'm used to editing audio and just putting it up that way, but never video. And so it's a whole thing because I put it not just on YouTube, but all the other platforms as well. So there's a lot that goes behind it. It's a very simple process, but it's very structural. So I had no idea how to do it, so I had to learn all of that. And so upon that, I was supposed to do that for season 2, but we ended up filming the episodes with my guests and everything, and I just couldn't figure out the whole video thing, so I tossed the idea and said, I'll just do it next time. So next time rolled around, and I decided to do it. So I did it, and I think 4 or 5 episodes in, I was having a really hard time getting the episodes up. They were just giving me a lot of problems with uploading it and putting it on certain files and sharing it and all these different obstacles. And by the time episode 5 rolled out, I was getting ready to upload episode 6, and it just would not let me upload it for some reason. No matter what I do, I tried everything that I knew in my power to upload the episode, and it was like 2 days before it was supposed to be released, and it just wouldn't upload. It wouldn't upload at all. And so I'm like, okay, you know what, Lord? I don't know what's going on here, but I'm just going to take a break. I don't know what it is, but let's just put a pause on it and come back to it later. And I was at a time that I wasn't doing well anyway, so it seemed like the perfect idea. I mean, it kind of sucked because I was only 5 weeks in, and I didn't want to give up. I knew that I wanted to bring this season to completion. I prayed about it, and that's something that I'm very passionate about, is bringing things to a close. And so I said, you know what? Let's just take a beat and we'll come back to it. Months later, around like mid-November-ish, I get something in my spirit that says, you need to finish this show. You need to bring it to completion. But you're only going to film one more episode. And I had filmed, I think, I filmed 14 episodes, and I planned for 22. I'm like, Lord, I have 22 outlines, 22 topics. Like, we have a whole scripture memorization. That's a Psalm 34, and it has 22 verses. This was mapped out perfectly. You only want me to put out 15 episodes instead of 22? He's like, trust me. And so what ended up happening was I heard that spoken to my heart, and I tried to upload episode 6 again, and I was having the same problems as I did before, but there was one method that I wasn't aware of, and I tried it and it worked. And so I'm like, wow. And so I used that method to upload the remaining episodes, and I had so much spiritual warfare with the editing and the uploading and everything. But through all that, I survived and I got through. And long story short, we got all the episodes uploaded through all of that mess, and I felt at peace with laying the show down. I no longer had the desire to continue. So one thing, when you obey the Lord, if you have something that you're working on, let's say a passion project, and it's something that you're still interested in, you still have the desire for, but the Lord will kind of shift things a little bit. Like for me, he took a little bit of the grace away from doing this. He took my peace away. I no longer had peace doing the show, and this is something that he knows that it's been a long dream and a passion of mine. And so with that being said, this is not a like, you're done with this forever. No, this is a, you know what, you need to lay this right down right now, and we'll come back to this at a later time in life. And I have some other stuff that I want to work in your life, but for right now, you're going to lay this down. And so with all the spiritual warfare and all the problems that I've had uploading these episodes and everything, I just sort of lost the desire, and I noticed myself getting more frustrated when I was editing episodes and stuff like that. And this is also a season where I'm trying to grow my YouTube channel on spiritual growth and everything. So I'm leaning more towards my desires are going towards that, because editing videos is very time consuming. Filming videos is very time consuming. And so, I'm also a writer. I just wrote a whole book of poetry. So I was working on those two things, my YouTube channel and my book, all summer long. And so with that being said, I really didn't have time to do my podcast, because my podcast took up a lot of my time. I literally had to like put things on hold just to do this podcast. And so the Lord's like, no, like, I have this other stuff that's on the docket for you. You need to get rid of this show. And I said, Lord, I wanted to bring it to completion. That was one of my main things, is that I want to complete this show. He's like, you can complete it, but this is how I want you to complete it. And so he's like, finish editing and uploading all the episodes that you have, and then film one last episode and just be done. And so that's what I did. And I cannot wait to see what the Lord does and how he works in my life in terms of growing my YouTube channel and my books and all the other projects that we have in store. So obeying the Lord is key, guys. And I just want to say this, knowing that my obedience to the Lord, I've been a podcaster for 5 years. This is my second show. The first show I had during the pandemic. It lasted 2 seasons. I had my co-host, and we were doing the show. We produced 2 seasons and 51 episodes. And for me, for this show, I've produced 3 seasons, 44 episodes, 44 released, one unreleased episode that's not going to be released. Over the course of 5 years, the Lord has helped me produce 5 seasons of podcasts and 95 episodes. That is a huge feat. That's not easy. And noting all the spiritual warfare that I've been encountering this entire time, it's a miracle. So I just want to give myself a round of applause, and I want to give God all the glory, because without him, I wouldn't have been able to do that. And, it doesn't seem like a lot, and so really giving myself a round of applause doesn't really do much for me, but I have to give myself a little bit of the credit, because I did play a part in this. God and I are partners, and without my participation, this wouldn't have happened. And so God gets all the glory, and I get a little I get a little round of applause to myself. And I'm patting myself on my back, and I'm proud of this show. The show is, again, as I mentioned in the intro, it's everything that I thought it could be and wanted to be. Yeah, sure, there are some things that I wanted to happen that didn't come to pass, but that's okay. The Lord will make it happen some other way, some other time. And so, knowing that my obedience to the Lord is going to sow seed for my future, I'm very happy and content with that. And knowing for you guys too, whatever the Lord is asking you to do, just obey him and he'll take care of you in the future. You can't see it now, of course. Like, I can't see it now, but I want to obey the Lord because I love him. And, as I mentioned before, I was experiencing so much spiritual warfare. You can't do a show like this and not experience spiritual warfare, because the enemy wants nothing more than to take everything away from you. And he wants to make sure that you give up on God, give up on your dreams, and he wants you to live some boring, mediocre, mundane life. And that's just not the man I am. That's not the man that God created me to be. So if you guys have something in your life that the Lord has called you to lay down, or say, surrender it to the Lord, or whatever it is, whatever the Lord is asking you to do, obey him. It's going to be hard. It's going to be hard for your flesh. But the spirit, if you love God enough, your spirit will automatically want to do it. And so just lean into that, press into that, and lean into prayer. The Lord has got your back. Again, my original plan for season 3 was to produce 22 episodes, but we're getting 15, and I'm happy with that. I am doing what I said that I wanted to do originally, and bring the show to completion, bring the season to completion with all the problems that encountered for me. I'm doing the thing, and I did the thing, and I'm proud of myself. And thank you, Lord. I want to share a couple of scriptures with you guys about in regards to obeying the Lord. First one I'm going to share from Isaiah 119. If you are willing and obedient, you will eat the best of the land. And so that's kind of touching on what I said a few minutes ago. If you obey the Lord now, you're going to see the fruit that comes from that later. It's sowing, the law of sowing and reaping. If you sow now what the Lord is asking you to do, then you're going to reap a harvest later down, and it's going to be far more than what you could have ever asked or imagined for yourself. In John 14:15, it says, "If you love me, keep my commands." I love the Lord with all my heart, mind, soul, and strength, and as hard as it is to lay one of my dreams down, the Lord's going to take care of me for doing that. And I love him, and I want to obey him. May not be what I want to do in the moment, but it is certainly what's right for the moment. And so I want to do that, and I want to be faithful and obedient to the Lord. So the next topic that I want to discuss is stepping out in faith, walking in faith. Life is full of uncertainty and unknowns, and that's been the brunt of this season, is finding joy amidst the storms of life. And so, stepping out in faith when you're going through all this stuff is not easy. Actually, it's impossible, and I can testify to that. This future is scary. The future is unknown. And every single day we're waking up, we're walking out of our houses, and we're not knowing what we're going to encounter throughout each day. And it is scary. But the Lord calls us to not fear. I want to read from Isaiah 41:10. This is a popular verse, but it's very key for this moment. So, fear not, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you. Yes, I will help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. And I just want to kind of go over a list of people in the Bible with you guys. Everyone who has obeyed God, all of these people have obeyed God, loved God, stepped out in faith despite what they felt, and they were delivered because of their strong faith and their obedience to the Lord. So real quick, Noah built the ark. Abraham was willing to leave his land. Moses led the Israelites out of Egypt. Daniel and his friends refused to eat the food and drink of the land that they were brought to, despite being told that they would be put to death. And they were also forbidden to pray to God, and were told to worship a carved idol instead of God. Our own King Jesus obeyed his Father by going to the cross, even though he didn't want to. Guys, that's huge. And that's just a handful of examples of people in the Bible who obeyed God. God brought each of those individuals deliverance, and he brought them a harvest so full that it seemed like at the time when they were promised what they were promised, it was just going to be that. But he fulfilled the promise and then some, and then some, and then some. God is a giver. He's more than a giver. He's an overachiever. He's an overgiver. I don't know if there's a word for that, but he'll give to you and he'll give beyond what he promised. And I, for one, can't wait to see how that plays out in my own life. But just reading that alone and knowing that these historical figures had to go through all of the stuff that I'm currently going through, or that you might be going through, and their obedience and their faith has produced a massive witness for us. And that, I think, is just so beautiful and so hopeful. It gives me a lot of hope. And so I'm going to continue to do it no matter how hard it is. God will bless you if you step out in faith. All of these people, again, they received their rewards because of their obedience, because of their sacrifices, because of their bravery in stepping out in faith. If you do the hard thing, you will be rewarded. And, I just wrote a note here to describe some of the things going on in my own life, obeying the Lord and stepping out in faith. And, I think that what I've described so far with this show pretty much just provides the perfect example for that. And I think, I have another situation in my life involving a major career change that I'm kind of hoping and praying for the Lord to work in my life. And I don't want to say too much on that, but just for the purposes of giving another example, I just want to say that God has called me out of something, and so I'm going to start to go through a huge transition at the beginning of the year. And it's very scary because I am left in a place where I don't know where that transition is going to lead me for the first time in my life. I should be really scared and worried and all the things that the Lord says not to be. And it's taking everything for me to lean on him and to pray and to obey him and to step out in faith and trust that he will deliver me and bring me into the place that is unknown. And it's scary being in the unknown. But I know that God is a good God and he will bring me to where I'm meant to be. And I know that he'll do the same for you. I want to do just maybe a quick jog down memory lane. Since this is our last episode, I just want to recap real quick. We did 3 seasons and 43 episodes are going to be released. So from season 1, I just want to look back and notice my favorite episodes and how I've grown and what could have been different real quick. So from season 1, my favorite episodes were I had a guest, my friend Jenny Brown. She did the episodes of Routine Happiness, where we were talking about how to create happiness and keep it up as a routine in your life, in your daily life. And we also did an episode on boundaries and how to have boundaries with people in your life. I loved both of those episodes. And then I did an episode with my guest Jordan Alcoba, You versus You, how, you are your own worst enemy and you've got the battle inside your mind and trying to beat yourself at your own game and be the best version of yourself despite everything working against you inside your own body. And so those were my favorite episodes from the first season. And a few flaws that I found from season 1 was that I was just coming off of another podcast and my confidence was at an all-time low. I didn't think that I could do it. And I was alone. I was afraid to fail. I definitely did not have the confidence that I needed to do. And I ended up stressing myself out more than I needed to. And it ended up being a moderate success. It did better than I expected it to do. And for that, I have no words. I'm very humbled and grateful. For season 2, my favorite episodes were Convictions, Forgiveness, and Setbacks. All those episodes I did with my friend John Kyle Sutton, JK. And those were convictions from the Lord telling us to, change and these things you're doing right, these things you're doing wrong, and forgiveness, letting go of unforgiveness and learning how to forgive people, and then setbacks. Just when you think that you're making certain strides, something happens, it kind of sets you back. Another episode I enjoyed was positivity with my friend Javier Del Rio. Just that is one of the most positive people that I know, so it was perfect to have him on for that. And I'm a pretty positive person myself, so to say that really humbles me, and I love that guy. And it's just really nice to be able to be positive through and through, no matter what you're going through. And that kind of, it was nice to do an episode like that. And then the season 2 finale, I believe, was Trust. It was on trusting people. I did that, and I opened up about things in my life that I have never opened up to the public about before. So that was a really good episode, and that was very brave of me to do. So I'm grateful and glad that I did that. A few things that I noticed, key things that were a little better but still needed work. I was a little bit more organized. I was less stressed, I noticed. I should have been a little bit more patient with myself. I should have given myself more time. I should have been, I should have given myself the time and been more patient with my time and with the project and, with myself. I didn't give myself enough patience, enough grace. And I kind of rushed the release of this show. And although I was more structured and more organized, and I really enjoyed it. That was the year that I was supposed to start doing video, and I just kind of gave up on that. So I wish that I would have explored that a little bit more, because I think that would have been really neat for that season. But I did end up using the video clips for my social media, so I guess that was an upgrade. So, but season 2 was great. Seasons 1 and 2 were amazing. And so finally, season 3, my favorite episode is called God Let Me Hit Rock Bottom. I had one of my closest friends in the season of my life, David DeJesus, and we kind of both just testified to our rock bottoms and how God brought us through those seasons of our lives. And from season 3, I think I finally achieved most of everything that I was looking for this show. I did video, I was more structured. I had, despite all the spiritual warfare that I encountered, I still brought this show to completion, and I did what I said I was going to do, because a lot of people have a hard time. It's easy to start things, but it's very hard to make it through the middle and then get to the end. And I made it to the end. And so what could be better than that? Success aside, I feel very fulfilled coming out of this. And honestly, through everything, I wouldn't change a thing. Honestly, creating a space for where people could find lasting peace, joy, and happiness was my ultimate goal. And I feel like I met it. And I feel confident, more confident through coming through all of this. And I'm proud to say that I was finally able to publish video this season. That was something that I wanted to do from very early on, but with my first show, we only did audio. And so coming off of that show, I didn't know what I was doing, and I didn't have anybody to help me. So with everything that God gave me and all that I had with me, I did everything that I knew I could do. And that alone makes me a success. Numbers or not, they're irrelevant. It's just doing the thing, getting it done. And what I did was no easy feat. So glory to God, and I'm proud of myself. And real quick, I just want to discuss a few things that this podcast has helped me grow in and helped me become a better person. I've become more organized in my life. I've learned how to edit content better, especially now with me working on my YouTube channel. I've gotten better in the last 5 years, because again, this has been a 5-year journey. 3 years for this show and 2 for the first one. We started that one in December of 2020 at the height of COVID. So I'm very proud and grateful. I've become more peaceful, more joyful, and more happy. And what is that? That's the whole theme of the show, right? So if I didn't make y'all happy, peaceful, and joyful, I made myself more happy, peaceful, and joyful. So I just want to say thank you guys for the ones who have been there since the beginning. And if you've just heard and listened to a couple episodes, heard and watched, to whatever, I'm just grateful. If you've clicked on anything that I've done, just thank you, because this stuff is not easy. And right now I'm a one-man band, and so it really means a lot that something is coming out of this. And from the bottom of my heart, I just want to say thank you. And I also want to express I hope that you've learned and been able to take some things away and apply it to your guys' lives. The show will still be up on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, all the platforms. I'm not taking it down, and it's not going anywhere. Again, this show is still my baby. The first show I did is not up, and I don't know if it'll ever see the light of day again, but that's another topic for another day. I'm still going to be on YouTube and TikTok and Instagram at Kent Connor Matthew. And just look out for future projects and any other updates concerning my projects and all that kind of stuff. Everything's going to be updated to my socials. And if you're interested, then there you have it. That's all I got for you guys. Thank you so much for all of the loyalty. Thank you for even just clicking and acknowledging and giving me a fraction of your time. It is not unnoticed, and I appreciate you guys. Until next time, have a beautiful holiday season and a wonderful 2026. And I'll see you around.